This video is going to cover the information that's on pages Excel 30 and 31, and that's typing in a function. In addition to entering a function using the Insert Function dialog box or the AutoSum button on the ribbon, you can manually type the function into a cell and complete the arguments needed. This method requires that you know the name and initial characters of the function, but it can be faster than opening several dialog boxes. Experienced Excel users often prefer this method, but it is only an alternative, not better or more correct than any other method, because they're all the same. It completes the same task. The autocomplete feature makes it easier to enter function names because it suggests functions depending on the first letters that you type. So let's take a look at doing this. Step 1 tells us that we're going to click on cell B16, so we can see that we're probably going to be figuring out what the maximum is. Then we're going to type in our formula prefix or function prefix, they're both the same on there, and it tells us we're going to type in the letter M. Now, since you are manually typing this function, it is necessary to type in the equal sign. The autocomplete feature displays a list of function names beginning with the letter M. Once you type an equal sign in a cell, each letter you type acts as a trigger to activate the autocomplete feature. This feature minimizes the amount of typing you need to enter a function and reduces typing and syntax errors. So now that we have all these on here, step 2 tells us we want to click Max in the list, which is the second one on here. So when we click on that, it tells us that a screen tip will appear describing the function. Now you can single click any function in the autocomplete list to see that screen tip. So we can take a look at Max A or Max or whatever on there. And this tells us it returns the largest value in a set of values and ignores logical values in text. That's what we want to do. So step 3 tells us we're going to double click Max on there. Excuse me on that. So we're going to double click Max on there, and that should go through and have it to where we are ready to input in our information. So it should give you Max and an open parenthesis. On step 4, it tells us that we're going to select the range B4 to B11. And so now what we're doing is we're going to find what is the largest number amongst all these numbers right here. Now, in a small set like this, it'd be easy just to kind of say, oh, there it is, but let the program do the work for you. Once you have that, you just click on the Enter button, and you'll notice that there is the maximum number, which if we take a look down here, the United States has the largest Q1 total. So that gives us that report on there as well. Now, if we go down to cell B17, we're going to go ahead and find the minimum on there. And of course, to do this, we're going to type it in. So we're going to type in equals M. And actually, the more you type, the more narrow it's going to get. So if I type MI, notice it reduces this down. And if I put MIN, it's going to keep on reducing down the options for me. If I just want to go ahead and keep on typing, I'm going to open up my parentheses, and I'm now ready to select my range. And this is step 6, where it tells us that we're going to select range B4 to B11 again. And then we're going to press the Enter key. Once we have that, we should have the result of 14,682.55. Now in this case, we've already got our functions input into this first cell. Now we could go ahead and fill in the information like we've done before, but however in this case we're going to select the range B16 and we're going to go down to E17. So it's going to be these 8 cells right here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use our fill, and we're going to fill to the right. Now notice that the minimum and maximum values for all the quarters displays in the selected range on there. And of course it's been updated for each one. So if we just click on these and take a look at these, they've all been updated for us. So it's much easier because typically all you have to do is input it in once, and you can copy the remaining way on there, and you don't have to do it individually per row. You notice on that one we did 2 rows together. You can do multiple rows. As long as the formula is in on the far left-hand side, you can fill to the right. Or if it's all across the top, you can fill down. Or if it's all on the bottom, you can fill up. Or if they're all on the right, you can fill left. So just make sure that you take a look at your fill button and know which direction you want it to fill in. First, we can hit our Save button, and we're going to save our work. And if we take a look down at the bottom of page 30, take a look at the yellow box down there where it talks about using the count and count A functions. And tells us that when you select a range, a count of cells in the range that are not blank appears in the status bar. So if I would click on maybe these right here, notice it gives me a count, and it tells me that there's 8 on there. Or if I go through and click on cell A1 to A5, it tells me that there's a count, 3 bits of information, because these 2 are blank. That's on there. Of course, to count non-blank cells more precisely, or to incorporate these calculations in a worksheet, you can use the count and count A functions. Count will return the number of cells that contains numeric data, including numbers, dates, and formulas. Count A returns the number of cells that contain any data at all, even text or a blank space. And for an example, if you would use the formula count equals A1 to A5, or the range A1, A5, it returns the number of cells in the range that contains numeric data. If you would use the count A, A1 to A5, it would return the number of cells in that range that are not blank. So there is just some information for you on there on using the differences between count and count A. Now you're ready to move on to the next video, which we're going to be copying and moving cell entries. Make sure that you do save your work.